The community came together and put up some amazing suggestions. Hi everybody, Saga Incursions. Most of you have probably done this, some people haven't. And this will be interesting if you've already done it, to look at what other players are using in the particular mode. Now you've seen my video, I'm sure you've seen many other videos, and it's really cool to see, who people are using, who are people pairing up with the different types of hacks out there. I put something out in the community tab, which was this right here, as a question to everybody as to like who you're using what hacks. And of course, what I've said I'd do is I'd add that to my guide, which is kind of an incursions guide, Saga Incursions guide, who I used, and community-led information as to what you used and what was working effective. So thank you very much to everybody. I read through everything, and it was great to see like who people were using and adding. And that's what we're going to do, is look at a lot of people were using silk. So I don't really want to turn this into the hey, just use silk, because that's what you need to do. But a lot of people use silk. So the spreadsheet has been updated. This is the one that I was referring to the other day when I made like my video, which if you don't already has tab number 1, which is a Saga Incursion options, just talks about, like, just some things right there. The Glorious Games infographic done by the amazing Misty Knight, some top tips right there, and as well some team ideas. But that's some ideas. It's always best when you kind of like have more info from you, the players. I put together as well the bishop pairing, which I did my run with, and as well as some other options that help out when it comes to hacks, buff cornucopia being that. And the thought process when I did my video, and the main point to a lot of this is saying, okay, you got some champions here, you sort them by the tags of Saga, so they're right there, and go, okay, does this champion have a buff? Yes, there's plenty there, like Infamous Iron Man. He gets an armor up buff. Any of your champions do Incinerate? Yeah, Bishop does Incinerate. Well, there are hacks that kind of rotate around that. Oh, I've got some champions that do degen, like Mr. Sinister, wherever my Mr. Sinister is, he's lurking somewhere. Mr. Sinister, Destroyer. There's one other one which I've just kind of like forgot off the top of my head, but you know what I mean. Like there's champions that do things, and because they do these things, you can pair them up with these hacks. And when you go into game, and you don't need to worry too much about the getting the wrong hacks, because you can get the right hacks by simply going up to the hacks right here and going, I didn't get what I wanted. So then what you can do is wait 5 minutes and go back in with the other champions. This one here, Mutual Assured Destruction. Is it Mutual Assured Destruction? Yeah, Mutual Assured Destruction, Pain and Gain. These 3 here, chef's kiss. You want these. These are going to be some decent ones for you. You're going to regen back some health. If you've got champions that regen, they're able to get a Fury buff. And by having those 2 things right there, so a second chance. Second chance is your get out of jail free card for the Monopoly fans amongst you, or it's like it's a second life. It's like you're like keeps you alive, like life model decoy on Nick Fury. It's kind of like that. Anyway. All that aside, let's get into what you all lovely people are using and what's working well. And it's Silk. At the end of the day, Silk is the champion that is doing well. But as I said, I did not want to make this the just use Silk thing, because then it sets up this like habit that we have in the community where like Hercules, just use Hercules. Silk, just use Silk. It's nice to see people, and people were using different options. It's not just that as a rhetoric. But it was interesting that people were using Silk. They were looking to get, was it Tide? Some people were paying Tide of Combat, Rage into Combat, Mutual Assured Destruction, of course, as we know, and then some prowess stuff with Bishop. It's nice to see those pair-ups. Because a champion, Bishop, said this before, if you can get buff cornucopia on at the same time, if you can improve those prowess damage, and of course you've got persistent, big SP2 damage fight to fight. Absorbing Man, because of his, it's just fantastic. Again, another fantastic champion. He is becoming one that a lot of players use quite regularly. It was nice to see some obscure things like Eye Hulk, but somebody was reminding me that at times they would face off against things like poison damage champions. And if you're going up against Abomination, Immortal Abomination it is, then you are looking to opt yourself for some champions that would mitigate that. I did actually have to go a bit ham with a champion that didn't really have any poison immunity. So that's a sneaky thing. You might have to watch out for some poison damage based options out there. And I can see why players have been using that. That's perfectly obvious. There was a really interesting team, like this team right here. I mean, this team here is interesting. The Mr. Sinister, Jessica Jones, and Ultron. And the Jessica Jones side of things with 50% more debuff duration. Again, like really good people using champions outside the box and using degen hacks to improve Mr. Sinister. That has been a great, a great option right there. Which, if I was to go down again, I'd probably use that if I was going to do that because of draining degeneration, proud degeneration, and debuff enhancement or reinforcement. Degen damage, which I think we've talked about in the past. Yeah, in the general options for incursions section, I've put that about that, haven't I? Yeah, debuff upgrade. It would be debuff upgrade damage over time, debuff upgrade degen, debuff reinforcement degen. If you can get those in there, as well as draining degeneration, you're doing this kind of like parry heavy type thing. Lots of degen damage. Mix that in with Mr. Sinister. Oh, again, another chef's kiss. I've got to enhance this at a later date. I've got the top tips for Lunar New Year incursion. So at the top. So I'm going to go remove that. I think because that's not really kind of relevant. That's taken from like a previous year of things. So if you've noticed that, sorry. But this is the update. This is why I need a little bit of a break because, it just gets a bit much. Magneto, though. This could be another great option for people to use. Having Magneto is an option. He is able to do parry heavy, which again rotates for the purpose of proud degen, obviously prowess, obviously extensive degen damage. That's another option. Buff cornucopia with that one at the same time. Again, great. Lots of hashtag metals do pop up, especially if we're looking at some tech-based champions. So having him on your team could be a great option. It was great to see this, by the way. Great to read this from the suggestions that we saw. There's a few others as well, like Lady Deathstrike was used. The person didn't kind of mention what team that was associated with, like who else was on there, but I'll take it, as a great option. I would have used Lady Deathstrike if I wasn't so set on experimenting around with my team. It's also good to see Absorbing Man, Domino, maybe Domino actually. That was kind of like another interesting addition. With Mutual Assured Destruction, Second Chance being these kind of like decent hacks. And once you've got these three out of the way, which you can see on screen right now, it's the next set that your choice is going to be so important, depending on the team you're going to set up with. You can see here, like I could have a chance from going one boss hack to the other and go, let's go Second Chance or Pain and Gain. Regenerative factor is something I personally like. I think that's helpful. Toxic Siphon. People were talking about this. The attacker gains 50% increased debuff duration during special attacks while the defender is suffering from a non-damaging debuff. The attacker regenerates 2% of damage dealt for each non-damaging debuff on the opponent. This is where the likes of Luke Cage come in. Luke Cage, people were talking about Silk with this. And who was the... it was Jessica Jones was the other one that people were talking about as a great option. But then you've got the option, word of the day, option, to choose everything. Like in here, like there's lots. There's my favourite. I think it's... And for some reason, I don't think they got Proud Degen. I think you only have Draining Degen. Draining Degen's the only one. This is where champions at power control, like Red Skull, and that's something that we'll finish the video on right here. Alternate options, ladies and gentlemen. Alternate options. If I was to go back, again, another option of doing it again, I would go Red Skull. Why? Power control from that champion. Same thing with Infamous Iron Man. Infamous Iron Man was the last. I didn't want to repeat the same thing. If I saw the video, I did say I didn't want to repeat what I wanted to do last time. Last time, I used Infamous Iron Man to get to a certain point with the Saga Incursions, and it was like, or Incursions in general. I just didn't want to repeat that. I wanted to do something new. This is why I decided to use Bishop which I didn't think I used last time, and then Man-Thing for testing, and Shuri for testing. I didn't really use Shuri that much. She was just kind of there to kind of fill up some gaps. Same thing with a lot of other players as well. Like a lot of champions were filling gaps for them. Anyway, those are some other options that players used, whether or not it's Dust, which was, again, another interesting one that players used. I've left the spreadsheet in a link in the description you can go and check out, and that's been it. Yeah, we're back to full running order tomorrow as we cover things when it comes to news and information, although it's very quiet in the world of MCOC, so I hope Kabam are cooking behind the scenes. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next one, and bye-bye for now.